Mailbag time again. As usual, we go smallest to largest. Let's see what we got. I've still got loads of projects on the go, so things can be a bit messy around here right now. And there'll be links down below for things I can give you links for. So watch out for that. If I can give you a link, there will be one. I'm going to have to use a real knife on this. Alright, sockets. This is for a project. So I've got 7 of those. I can gift one to someone. I don't need 7. Excellent. There's a PGA like 68 or 72 pin socket, something like that. I don't remember. Lovely. Very nice. This is for my 3458A. I believe it's got a dead new 180 in it. I'm going to be building a new 180 board, which it's still in development. It's just more of an experiment than anything else. And I just want to see if that will bring it back to life. And if it does, then I know it's definitely a 3 voltage issue and that U180 is dead and that sort of stuff. So it's more of an experiment for anything else. If I end up keeping it, I don't know. It is very early in development stage of that device. Sockets, because you need to put one of those on the A3 assembly before you can plug the new board in. You don't want to be soldered in and out. So sockets. So I've got a few projects on the go, and that 3458 is one of the ones which I've been working on 3 months now. I mean, I've spent like a month refurbishing it, you know, off and on. And then I've got that board failure, and sort of debating whether or not I spend $6,500 on replacing the board, because I can't just fix it. You have to get key sites to replace the board. What are these? Got 2 of them, whatever they are. 80847J. Okay, let's get these out. So these parts I needed for my Heathkit 237. Now I've since managed to get some. Now these are AliExpress. They have been tinned and cleaned up. So are these used or are they fake? It's always the question, isn't it? There's some kind of markings on the back there. Can you make out what these are? Philippines? That's what's on the back. 9142. Okay, that might be a clue. If the date on the front doesn't match. Is that 27th week of 13? That doesn't quite match the same, does it? Let's check the other one. The other one is easier to see. Is it whilst I turn it over? 9141. Oh, maybe that's not a date code then. Okay. But the rear codes match. I don't know. You always wonder, like, is this fake? Has that been machined or lasered off and then... I mean, that's lasered print. That's lasered in. So... I don't know. They don't look bad. For comparison, these are the ones I got from Quest Components. You might notice they look a little bit different. Yes, they don't look quite the same, do they? And this is a dead one I pulled out of the device. This is actually bad, this one. Compared to these. Again, look different. Very different decos. These are dated 98. This is supposed to be 04. Which, so I know this would be a genuine part because this one came out of the device. And compare it to these ones. Yeah. Which ones do you think's fake? These could be fake. It could just be some other generic device, but yeah, I've got originals now. I've got these ones, so I'm not too worried. So these were potentially going to be used in my Heathkit 237. I mean, I could actually just plug one in and see if it works. Because if they work, I mean, that's fine, isn't it? Oh, we've got a couple of things in here. USB blaster. I got this through the 3458A new 180 project. So it's just the JTAG programmer. I think it's a knockoff or something, I don't know, but anyway. I know that Marco Rips used one of these when he's doing one, so it should work. So I've been getting a few different programmers, and I'm just going to see which one does the job for me. I don't know, because I use a Mac and I don't really want to use a PC if I can avoid it. We'll see how we go. Alright, next thing. This is another one. Xilinx DLC 9LP USB cable. We've got some adapter cables in there. Connection there. USB there. So it's another JTAG type programmer. I'd say just getting a few different ones and just, I don't know. It's always nice to have variety of things because you never quite know what you're going to need, what's going to work. You might find something works better on one product than another. And I tend to get carried away. Actually, no, I don't tend to get carried away. I like to ensure that when the time comes, I have the tool I require to do the job. Yeah, that's it. I think this might be from DigiKey. A bit puzzled about what this is because they said they're shipping something from an order which I've already received. So I was kind of confused. Now I wonder if there's something which is back ordered, which then got removed off the original order list, so I didn't even notice it wasn't there. And then they've added it on. I don't know. Okay, what we got? Oh, FRAM ICs. Damn it, I just ordered some of these. And I ordered 2 of them. That's ridiculous. So obviously these are missed off a previous order, which is why I ordered some more. 2 of them. FM18W08. These are FRAM ICs. These are used in various upgrades these days to replace Dallas RAM and stuff like that. Dallas NVRAM. I just ordered 2 more because I didn't have as many as I thought I should have. This is why. Oh well, I'm going to have just extra ones, aren't I? Great. Hope I can use them one day. I only have about 150 years to use them because they don't last that long. I say that because they're stated as having a 150 year storage life. As in, you can retain the data for 150 years without power. Anyway, I think I'll probably be not worrying about it then. Oh, it's a bag inside the box. Nice. So they've actually tried to protect them. Okay, that's good. Double bagged even, look at that. I think I'll use a real knife on this one, it's going to be easier. Or is it? Oh, there's more in there. Somewhere. American Zettler relays. There's actually 2 separate orders on eBay. 2 separate listings. Anyway, AZ 420-12-203 and 421-14-201. Let's have a look, see if these look like they've been pulled out of devices or not. They were supposed to be new old stock, if I remember rightly. Oh, see scratches on those pens. Not sure. The other pens look okay. There's definitely a scratch on this one. And that one. So I'm not sure about new old stock, maybe they've been tested, I don't know. Let's check another one. As long as they're in good condition, I really don't care that much. As long as they actually work okay. Same deal. Look like they've been used, see those little contact marks there. Yeah, there may be a little bit of mark on that one there. Yeah, so I think there's maybe not new old stock, maybe used. These were not cheap, so I'm not actually sure if these were listed as new old stock or not. Whether they were just listed, I honestly don't remember. But these relays are hard to find. They're not made anymore. There you go, the details there. Let's have a look. Can't really tell. Oh yeah, there's a scratch mark on that one. So yeah, these will be used. These will be used relays. Now what I wanted these for are spares for my Fluke 5450A, because that has issues with relays. I've done a couple of videos about that in the past, with the relays needing to be cleaned up. 1 or 2 relays are still a little bit dodgy. Don't 100% trust them. They're working at the moment, but they've played up a couple of times, so I'm just basically getting spares for as many of the relays as I can. And I've already got some already, so I've got some more. I think I might actually have assortment across all the different types it has, not including the read relays, I'm excluding those, just these physical plug-in relays. I think I've got one of each type, or at least a couple of each type now. So if I do get one which fails, I can swap it out and hope for the best, and hope the ones which are supplied are better. These were not cheap. I think it was about $80 a relay, something like that. They're very expensive. But when it comes to things like keeping a piece of test equipment going, $80 is cheap. Ah, great. It's a battery. D9057. 7.2 volt, 3,200 milliamp hours. This is meant for DeWalt tools. I don't actually own any DeWalt tools, but my dad does, and he has a cordless screwdriver, and he really likes it. The battery is knackered on it. I made a note of that and bought a battery for it. This took about a month to arrive. But that's okay. I'll give that to him next time I see him, which I think will be next week. So this package is looking a bit sad. Let's see what we get. I'm not sure it's meant to be that thick. It's been slightly squashed, hasn't it? Hey, okay. It's that shape anyway. Well, kind of. So it is slightly damaged, but they're just cardboard anyway, so I'm not too worried. It will just fold back. You're right. So 3-ring binder. I got this because I picked up a Keithley service manual. Loose leaf, I suppose you'd call it. That was brand new in packet. That was for the Keithley 237. And obviously I need a ring binder to put it in, so here's a ring binder to put it in. I guess that'd be the back. Oh no, actually I got sleeves on the top and bottom. That has to be the front. Anyway, that's fine. So that can go in here. So now I've got a ring binder to put the service manual into. Brilliant. This was surprisingly expensive actually. I don't know why it's so expensive to get. I think you can buy like the ring binder part by itself. You can get them, but then also you need the rest of the case. I don't know. Is it because it's old technology now? I don't know, maybe. Now this brings us to this. When I first got it, I was thinking, what on earth is in this packet? I honestly could not remember what it was. I remembered now, so let's get into it. I have to use a real knife for this. Right, some of this flexible ducting stuff. I have. Oh, right, okay. That's what that's for. Now, I'm hoping this is the same what I've got. Because up here, I've got this ducting here for my extractor fan. This looks very similar, not exactly the same. So, what I'm hoping is that I can actually attach this to this one and make it a little bit longer. Because this is probably about, I don't know, that much too short. Literally a foot too short. Unless I route it slightly differently and actually bring it up higher and then bring it down lower, you know, so it goes over more instead of going across the desk. So I've got some of this, and it's got this little. I was trying to figure out what the knob was on there for, and that's this little restrictor. So you can use that to control the flow. Interesting. Simple solution. And then also you got one of these little heads that go on it as well, a bit like this, but different shape, smaller. I'm just hoping this fits on this. Let's find out. So I popped off the in section. We'll pop this off and see if this looks like it's going to latch on. I don't know. It's bigger. Damn it. That's the risk you take, isn't it? Okay. That's a shame. I mean, it's still doable. I can still make it work. I was hoping it'd be the same dimension. This is stated as being 75mm. I measured this as being, I think it was 72. I was hoping it was like a measurement thing between the measurements put on this, but it does seem to be 75 after all. I wasn't quite sure where they're measuring, you know. So, I might do it that way again. Maybe there was a way I could do it. I mean, maybe I can push it down to there so it's like doubled over one. Then put some tape around. I mean, that's possible. I mean, I can definitely get enough length on this. So this is the other hood compared to my one, which is obviously a lot wider and dustier. I'm not sure if it's the same size or not. This might actually be the same size. Yeah, these are basically the same size. So if this one's expected to stretch, I'm sure this one could do it. Actually, my existing one, as does this one, they fit inside really well. You can sort of clamp them down and push them back up together, and actually goes inside quite nicely. So that's actually a good fit. Okay, I've got options. I think I can make this work. It's done. I did manage to get it to work. What I've actually done is I've got one of these original sections, because I've got spares. Great. Is I basically cut it off to make it a shim. You can see I'll cut it here like this. So I basically cut it off down to about here. Obviously when it's straight. Now straighten it a little bit. So it's just below there. About that point there. I cut it off to that. And also that then acts as a nice shim to fit over the original one, which is back there somewhere. And I've also lubricated it all because this is really stiff. You don't want it too stiff. It's just too hard to move. So what I also use some lithium grease, and I basically just lubricate all the joints. Problem is it gets messy and that'll dry out eventually, but you know, it'll take a little while. But it means then it can move around. I can angle it and adjust it as I need to quite easily, and not worry about it too much. So yeah, it means I can put it anywhere I want now, instead of, you know, sometimes being a bit too far away. So that'd be good. I can even put it right here, so I'm working sitting up rather than on my bench. On my bench I can do it, so brilliant. Does the job, and it's far cheaper than the original stuff. So there you go. And the join is there. There's the join there. So you wouldn't even know. Other videos to watch down below there, more Mailbag videos, more projects, maybe there's stuff, I don't know, maybe I'll link to repair videos or something, I don't know. There's stuff down there. There's playlists, go watch them. Subscribe over here if you're not already subscribed. If you want to help support the channel, Patreon's a link over there if you want to help me to buy things to do videos about. Catch you later.